All right, let's see if we get some 5x5, some camera time. Let's see if I can see me, which I can't yet. So we're still waiting. But I'm talking because eventually one of you guys will hear me. So we're going to go from there. Do. All right, Storm Chasing Gal says 5x5, undercover, Finley the dog, Farm Ranch, and I can finally see me, so that's good. Lucky Dane, Beautiful Day, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Jim Christus, Scott, Florida Mama Bear. All right, bunch of you guys can see me. Happy Tuesday. Please fasten your seatbelts, put your tray tables in the upright position, because we're going to have a bumpy ride tonight. It's just good. It's the way it is. So, hope everybody's had a good start to the week so far. I know it's crazy season for most of us, canning like crazy. Mrs. P and I put up another 28 cans of stuffed peppers. So, yeah, just going and going and going, putting food away. I got 28 jars left in the house, so I'll fill those easy because tomorrow is on to salsa more. Tomatoes are coming in, peppers are coming in, doing all that. Squash is coming in. Maybe I'll make some more calabacita. We'll see what happens, but it feels good to put food up. Because in Joe's economy, we don't know how long we're going to have anymore. So, all right. So we're going to get into. Oh, hang on a second. My butt itches. No, maybe, you know what? Maybe, but maybe I shouldn't scratch my butt. It looks weird on camera, doesn't it? But it itches. It's my butt. But that would be embarrassing. It is only my butt. And by now we might have a couple of people that are hammered. Yes, I read the comments. Watch you guys. Few of you guys have been here for an hour and know exactly what that was all about. We'll see if anybody. Let's see. Nobody's. I don't remember who said it, but there about an hour ago, there was somebody who came in the chat and said they invited a bunch of their buddies over. They were going to have a drinking game tonight. They were trying to figure out the word that every time I said they were going to have to take a shot. And so the suggestion came up the word but. So I just figured I'd play along. Yes, I read the comments. I pay attention. I stalk. I lurk. I do what I'm supposed to do. I pay attention. Okay. So, all right. Beside the point. Hope that was, for those of you that got the joke, great. For those of you who didn't, I hope I explained it. But that was it. All right. So the interesting things today, you guys probably heard, was it last week? They were talking about leprosy in Florida. Yeah. Okay. Because, we didn't eradicate that. I don't know what, 80 years ago, somewhere, but apparently it's back. Okay. Apparently the public didn't get scared enough about it. So now they've come out today and said, there's an outbreak of dengue fever in Florida. Okay. The dengue fever comes from mosquito bites in the tropics. We don't know anybody who's playing around with the genetics of mosquitoes, do we? Tropics. Not a whole lot of tropics in the United States. So I wonder how that could possibly be being brought into the United States. Florida? Yeah. A lot of people seem to be going to Florida. Not on vacation. They're trying to move there permanently. Wonder where they're coming from. Yes. So we get the latest. Let's see if this one takes over. What's going to be the pandemic of the week? What's going to scare the public? Gee, we started a bunch of fires. Does that freak people out? Well, we got to come up. Are you guys noticing this pattern? It's like smallpox, dengue fever, leprosy. I can't even think of all the others. Isn't it amazing how like every deadly disease all of a sudden is returning in the last year or so? Yeah. Gee, I wonder why. Just a thought. Okay. Somebody made a comment today on one of the two videos about the difference between liberty and freedom and wanted me to discuss it real quick. There's not a whole lot of difference, guys, okay? And I know some people may say it, but I'm going to give you the basis of it, okay? A lot of it has to do with government oppression. If you define the liberty, okay, the condition of being free from oppressive restriction or control by a government or other power, or a right to engage in certain actions without control or interference by a government or other power. Okay? Give me liberty or give me death. In other words, people wanted to live without government control over their lives. It was a founding principle of the United States. It's not a founding principle of the Democrat Party, just saying. Okay. So what's freedom? Freedom is the condition of not being controlled by another nation or political power. It's political independence. So basically, what we are looking for in this country at this point is liberty, the ability to live without our own government interfering in our lives, and freedom, the ability to live without another government or another nation interfering in our lives, i.e. China. Okay. It was funny. Somebody sent me a chart today. There was an article on how inflation basically stayed flat from the basically beginning of time in the United States until it started to tweak up when the Federal Reserve was created. And all of a sudden we had ticks and ticks and ticks of inflation, right? Because this was man trying to control the economics of the country, okay? You know, all this, we're going to raise rates, we're going to lower rates. If you just let the market do its thing, okay, that'll all work itself out, okay? And the chart was kind of interesting because from the advent of time till the advent of the Fed, inflation went like this. From the advent of the Fed until about 1970, inflation slightly ticked up. Not much, okay? A couple of percent. You know, since the advent of the Fed, just to give you an idea, we have seen a now cumulative 3,000% inflation in the country. Okay? Since the 1910s to the 2020s, 3,000% inflation. That means the price of everything has gone up 30 times. The interesting thing about the chart is about 1972, it goes from this slight angle to this steep curve up. Now, anybody want to guess what happened in around 1972? Okay, we could talk about the Munich Olympics. We could talk about Richard Nixon being president. You know, a whole bunch of things. Things happened in 1972. But the two big things that happened were Bretton Woods, okay, which you guys all know about that. That didn't really have too much of an effect on it, all right? Maybe some, okay? Gold standard, yeah, I'd say that might have changed things up a little bit. The bigger one, at least in my opinion, was when Nixon's China policy took place. Now remember, if you go back to the late 60s, early 70s, China was a third world nation. I mean, there was nothing, okay? I mean, China was in no better shape as a country than North Korea, all right? People were starving. There was no industry, no nothing, okay? You had a bunch of poor peasants. In the 1970s, the United States decided to bring China into the realm of the first world. And in the process, in 50 years, China has gone from a peasant community to, at this point, probably at least the number 2, if not the number 1 superpower in the world. Okay. All thanks to us. And how has that happened? That would be the big ramp up in our inflation. You and I paid for it. Okay. Not by choice. You could say somewhat, because have we kept purchasing things from Walmart? Do we purchase stuff from Amazon? Have we sent all our manufacturing to China? Can you walk through your house and find next to nothing that isn't made in China? Okay, yeah, we've all participated in it. We have basically paid for the demise of the United States because we all got so used to cheap disposable crap that, hey, we can buy it. And I mean, I'm as guilty as everybody else, okay? No, there's no question. I mean, I go through my house, it's all Chinese-made shit too. You know, you look at every solar generator I talk about, every freaking one of them is made in China. Why? Because they aren't made anywhere else, okay? This is the problem. This is where they have us balls to the wall, is we can't get anything if it isn't made in China. But it has led to our demise. And then, of course, we find out that we have presidents who are in the back pocket of China, and we wonder why the country is going in the toilet so fast. So yeah, if you want to look at the reasons why we are paying through the nose for gasoline, for toilet paper, for food, for whatever, you can blame it on 2 things. And the math shows it. Going off the gold standard and embracing China. Where the logic came in that, hey, you know what? Let's go be great friends with a communist country. I have no idea. Richard Nixon was a smart guy. He was also an idiot. Okay. And then, of course, we got the cast of characters that's come in, and we have only had 2 good presidents since Nixon was president. Okay. Reagan and Trump. That's it. The rest of them, a bunch of fools who are probably sitting in their houses right now, if they're not already dead, counting all the yuan that they have. All right. So that brings in one other thing I want to talk about. I just want to kind of remind everybody. If you don't want to vote for Trump, don't vote for Trump. Don't care. Okay. That's your choice. I'm not going to try to persuade you. You're not going to persuade me. Don't bother telling me, I wish you'd stop talking about Trump. I'll talk about whatever I want. Okay. Don't bother telling me, I don't want to watch your videos. You cough. I'm sorry. Don't want to watch the video? It's the little X is for. I don't care. I'm me. I'm not going to have this big studio or anything like that. You are not going to change me. I am too damn old to change. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me, whatever it would be. You want to be an ass, you won't be around. We had a couple of them today. One who was a long-time subscriber, too, got her ass tossed out for good. Okay. I don't care. You want to be rude, you want to be mean, you aren't sticking around. I've always said from the beginning, this channel will be a friendly place to go to. I'm not going to have it any other way. I don't care if you've been a subscriber from day one. You want to be a prick, you won't be here. Just saying. Okay, so let's get into Q&A tonight. I'm guessing there's probably a whole lot with everything going on, kind of some weird stuff too. My request to everybody, as usual, if you have questions for me, please put it in all caps. But I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. Never profess to having all the answers. Never will. Okay. Somebody in here, chances are, can answer your question. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it. Okay. I'm not going to try to bullshit anybody. But if you have a question for me, please put it in all caps. That's what I ask. And as I said previous, please keep everything hunky-dory in here, polite, friendly, whatever would be, and go from there. All right. So let's get to Q&A here. I will get started. Mrs. P just came downstairs. I was wondering if something went wrong, but I think she's just, what's she looking? Oh, she needed batteries. Okay, gotcha. All right. So, no, not that. Don't get your mind out of the gutter. Okay. All right, let me get to the top here. We'll see what's on y'all's mind. All right. Questions. Okay. Some stuff here. All right. All bets are off. Says a new lockdown is coming. EG.5 Eris variant on the rise. Okay. I talked about a new lockdown, what, a week or so ago? Uh, yeah, we'll see one soon enough. As soon as the primaries start getting into full play, you'll start hearing a lot more about stuff like that. But I, I'm willing to bet by this time next year, we'll be in full blown lockdown because that's the only way they're going to get uh, mail in voting and ballot harvesting and all that sort of stuff so they can cheat their way for another 50 million votes. So somehow, whoever the Democrat nominee is can win. That can't think of a different word. Emerge victorious, get selected, be granted residency. I don't know, but yeah. Okay. That one will disappear. Obvious. Goodbye. Okay. Do. All right. Big Ed Water. I thought you said Bengay fever. No. No. This time of year with all the bending over and picking vegetables and stuff like that, yeah, this is icy hot and Bengay getting used a lot by a lot of people, I'm betting. Okay. Let's see. Rolling on through. Okay. Not going to even respond to that. Okay, looking to see. Nobody wants to ask any questions. A Cushnet prepper. Yeah, you're right. Made in Japan was the junk in the 50s and 60s. Absolutely. I mean, go look at an old Toyota car or a Datsun or something like that, from back then. I mean, those things are rust buckets that maybe they lasted 3 or 4 years, tops. Okay. Now, of course, they're, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, whatever, some of the best selling cars in the United States, because a lot of them don't have to pay the union wages that we have to pay. And, so the cars are a little cheaper. Ford is now having a problem selling trucks that are under $100,000. I'm figuring out how the hell are they having a problem selling the ones under $100,000? Because there ain't no freaking way in the world I'm paying $100,000 for a truck. just saying. Okay. I know there's going to be questions in here. Gotta be somewhere, maybe. Now we shot to the bottom because I got to nothing. So let's try this again. Okay, we're back to where we were. Do. I'm looking, guys. Lots of lowercase stuff. Okay, here we go. Maybe. Oh, come on. This is going to be a real boring live stream if there's no questions. Okay. Fastball 2611. Pinball, with all this rain in East Tennessee, is your pond overflowing yet? No, we got it. Probably added a foot to the depth of the pond. I still need about 18 inches more. The problem that we got with it was the rain can't. I need a long, steady rain, and where I am, it rained for 20 minutes. Cats and dogs. I mean, it was coming down so hard the gutters on my house couldn't handle it. It was just going right over the gutters. Okay, they're not. I mean, I got caps on them so they don't they're not clogged. So it was raining so hard the water come, but it lasted 20 minutes and then it stopped. Okay, and so all the drainage that I'm trying to get off the mountainside would come for a half an hour or so. I'd figure I get 10 minutes after the rain stops, and it would be pumping that pipe full blast for a half an hour. That's great, but that's going to get me, what does it do, 60 gallons a minute or something like that. So that gets me like 1,800 gallons or whatever it is in that half an hour. Okay. I need a steady rain for 12 hours to fill my pond. I mean, we've got like 6 inches of rain here in the last week, but it all comes so fast that a lot of the water coming down the hill is going right over my drain system because it can't handle it all at once. So yes, I've got more water, but no, I'm nowhere near it. Not it's getting better, but now we're not supposed to get any rain for the next 2 weeks. So how much am I going to lose to evaporation? David Hastings, pinball. I put out one butternut squash and harvested 16 so far. That's good. Okay, that's a good return. Uh, you know, figure out how to make butternut squash soup, or how to can it. I mean, I canned up a bunch of acorn squash last year. I mean, they're winter squash. They'll can well, they'll store well. But you've got 16. That's 2 weeks worth of a side dish for dinner. Okay, that's a good thing. Don't complain. I mean, it's like I said to Mrs. P. We finished making up some of these jars. I'm like, get 14 jars of stuffed peppers done. I said, there's 2 weeks worth, or there's a week's worth of dinners, 1 can each for each one of us. There's a week's worth of dinners each time we do that. Look at it that way, but look at it that way. But then also that gives you an idea of how much food you need to put away. 2 canners full, that's 1 meal per person for a week. That's it. Okay. How many cans do you need to put away? Lots. 2,000 pounds a year. Remember that, guys. That's the amount of food that the average American eats. 1 ton of food. And that's what you need in the way of calories. Could we all lose weight? Sure. Okay. But you know what? Instead of eating that Big Mac, maybe you eat a butternut squash. You're still going to eat 1 ton of food, just which one's going to be more healthy for you. Okay. Stephanie Meads, have I ever canned meat? Saw a person raw pack meat. Thoughts? Yes, I have. I've cut up pork loin into cubes, canned it. I take chicken legs, chicken thighs, I stick them in a can, bone on, everything, can them. I've mentioned before, canning ground beef. I actually think ground beef tastes better when you mix it with macaroni and cheese or something like that. I think it actually tastes better after it's been canned than when you're using it raw. The big thing on canning meats is just make sure you do it, right pressure, wherever you are. And then canning meats, doesn't matter what meat, 90 minutes for quarts and 75 minutes for pints. Don't go any shorter than that, okay? But yeah, I raw pack all of it. And I mean, even in all of these things, there's a 1/3 to a 1/2 pound of meat in each one of these. Raw packed with rice, tomatoes, peppers, and onions. Okay. And there's my stuffed peppers. And they come out, taste wonderful. Spice it as ever you want. Spices aren't going to make a difference. But yeah, raw packing meat, no problem. Chants are good. Any advice for living in a car? Please find something different. Yeah. My advice for living in a car, don't do it. Find something else. Okay. Rent a room from somebody, but living in a car is not safe. I mean, not only from the criminal element out there, but you're not going to stay cool. You're not going to stay hot, warm in the winter or anything like that. It's certainly not comfortable. Find something else. Go to the church, the homeless shelter, ask them what they can do. There's organizations that will help you find a place to live. Okay, please don't live in your car. 2-player one. Okay. Stubborn fever. How can you store eggplant? I have no idea. I do not like eggplant. I do not grow eggplant. I don't like how it tastes. I don't like the texture. I don't have anything to do with eggplant. Don't want it. That's it. Eggplant to me is like spam to Jason. Okay, please don't put it in front of me. Don't like it. Lisa Z, do I think we are going to have to take a cut in our Social Security disability? I can't speak for disability. I did see about a week ago that they came out and announced what next year's Social Security increase is, and I think it's supposed to be somewhere around 2%. Like that's going to keep up with inflation. Uh, but as for disability, I don't know if that's going to be touched because the government's got to come up with some way to pay for all these freaking illegals. Uh, you know, and it's either print money or steal it from us. Well, guess what? If you're on disability, they're going to steal it from you. Nanny D, ever grow horseradish or ginger root? Tips, trying it for the first time this year. Yeah, I've grown horseradish. Love growing horseradish. It's real easy. I do it actually in buckets, uh, but there's literally nothing to do. Put the plant in there and just let it grow all summer. And somewhere, again, depending on your weather, somewhere around the beginning of December, your horseradish is ready. Now, it may be earlier for you, but I mean, around here, that's when it starts to get in the 40s and things like that. So when your temperature gets around 40, that's when you're going to want to harvest. But yeah. What was this here? Silvergram, thank you for the super chat. Have I heard about the book Fire and Fury by Dr. Miles Stones? No, I have not. About the Maui fires, published before the fire was out. Interesting. Yeah. Like I said in today's video, there's a lot of nefarious crap that's going on with that. You know, somebody said, why would they worry about taking, areas in Maui? There's tourism dollars there. Yeah, but they're thinking bigger than tourism dollars. They're thinking about total control. If they control all the dollars, not the tourism, but the restaurant, but the store, but the power, but the water, but the sewer, but tourism's great. We sold you a hotel room and maybe a restaurant, okay? But if we can keep you there for 52 weeks a year and you can't go anywhere and the only money you have to spend, we give you and you have to give it back. I sold my soul to the company store. Remember that line? Okay. That's what they're looking for. Tourism dollars are a pittance. What better place to do it, to test pilot this, than an island? Okay, think about this for a second. Nobody's coming in and nobody's escaping. I mean, they're building a prison. What better place to put a prison than on an island? Like Alcatraz. This is it, 15 minutes city on an island. Look, we've got everything taken care of. And the only way you're leaving, it's an awfully long swim to Los Angeles. Watch out for the sharks. Okay. That's what I'm watching. Okay. If Larry Ellison, like I talked about, or Bezos or anybody else, all of a sudden or BlackRock, starts snapping up all this property. Larry Ellison has already said in interviews that that's what he wants to do for, was it Lanai, was it called? The island, that 141 square mile island I was telling you about today. Okay, that's already said that's what he wants to do. He wants to have total control over everything and make it self-sufficient, totally an eco paradise or whatever for him. And then everybody else is the slaves, right? That's what they're trying, guys. Don't be fooled. Don't think this is a bunch of prepper BS that, conspiracy theory. You guys know me, okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. I look at the facts, I analyze the facts, and I come up with the most plausible solution. That's what's going on. Mike Luce, $20. Thank you for the Christmas fund. Duly added. This is going to be a fun Christmas this year, I think. Neuron Web, please tell us again your garden fabric that prevents weeds. I went on Amazon. I think it's 6 mil thick, and I think it's made by Happy Buy. I think that's what it was. Stuff works great. So I've used it last year. I used it this year. Stuff's still in really good shape. I'll use it again next year. So if I can get 3 or 4 years out of it, that's fabulous. Joe Shinpaw, Pinball, is this a good time to order seed for next season? Funny you should ask, because I actually was looking around at that today. Might be a little early. I'm still seeing that some of the better known, I looked at multiple sites. I looked at Hoss Tools, I looked at Burpee, I looked at Baker Creek to see what they had in inventory. And a lot of them do not have the 23 or 2024 seed out yet, which makes sense because we're now just getting into harvest season. So, where do seeds come from? You got to harvest the vegetables first. Have I saved any seed from anything I've got? No, because I'm still harvesting. So, guys, I can't save any of my tomatoes this year because of that screw up. But, beans and peppers and stuff like that, I'll be able to save my seed, no problem. I just haven't had the harvest for them yet. Right now the peppers I'm eating. Okay. At the end of the year, I will take those ones that I will let to literally rot or pretty close to, and then those are the ones I'll use for seed. We haven't got the plants to collect seed from yet, nor have they. So just saying. Probably a little early. I'd say give it a month and then we'll start ordering seeds. Prep Rebel, thank you for the super chat, also for the Christmas fund. So I'm gonna have to start shopping here soon. We're getting close. I mean, guys, it's the middle of August. Okay, the kids are already going back to school. Some are already probably back in school. So fall ain't too far away. Depending on where you live, you may have a couple of weeks. Stephanie Meads, how about water canning? That was my question. Sorry, brain fart. Yeah, a water bath too, depending on what it is. If you're doing something that's highly acidic, okay, something that you're going to add a lot of vinegar to. Salsa, like I was talking, salsa is a great candidate for water bath canning because you're putting vinegar in it. Pickling, like if you're going to make pickles, pickled cucumbers, water bath can again is perfect. You need something that has a high acidity content to water bath. If it does not, I mean, my potatoes, my peppers here don't have any, though they have, I mean, the tomatoes have some acidity. But yeah, the best thing I can tell everybody, get yourself some canning books, okay? Whether it's the Blue Book from Ball or any of these other ones, make sure you get a hard copy of those, because when the internet goes down, when the electricity goes out, you don't want to be going, holy crap, I got 50 pounds of tomatoes I just picked today. How do I can salsa again? How do I make spaghetti sauce again? You have the recipes, you have how long it takes, to water bath or anything like that. But rule of thumb for water bath canning, most of the time you need something that's high acidity. Wendy Cosmerl, is steam canning the same as water bath canning for end results? I'm not going to be the best person to answer. I want to say yes, but I would ask Lisa at Sutton Stays for that. She has a steam canner. I do not. So, and I know she uses it a lot. I don't know if the times are the same or anything. So, mods, if you want to put up a link to Sutton's Days in there so Wendy can go check that out, that would be the authority I would tell you to go ask. Rich, in my opinion, how long can they kick the can down the road with the economy? Not, in my opinion, not much longer, okay? Because we are going to, again, you got to remember compounding, okay? When we get to the point where we are not bringing, the government is not bringing in enough tax revenue to pay the debt service. In other words, to pay the interest on the debt, which we're very close to. I mean, the Fed is trying to hold this down as best we can. Raising interest rates is not the way to do it. Okay. They're printing money, which causes more inflation so they can buy the debt. So printing more money, and it just causes this. We're in a situation where, I mean, we all know this is completely unsustainable, what we're doing, okay? The days of easy money, 2008 to about a year ago, are over. The whole economy should have collapsed 15 years ago, guys. But the fact that they brought interest rates down to zero to artificially inflate the economy is what kept us going for 15 years. Well, now it's time to pay the piper. And when the people are holding record credit card debt, when the stock market is so overvalued, nothing is trading on fundamentals anymore. It's trading the stock market's trading purely on emotion. Okay. Earnings don't mean squat anymore. It's everybody trying to see if they can be a day trader. Okay. When interest rates are going up, the government is broke. You can expect to see a tax hike. I'm telling you that right now. That's coming. Okay. I don't care which party it is. It's the only way they're going to kick the can down the road a little bit further. But if we economically, I give us 3 years unless something drastically changes. And I'd say that's an optimistic outlook, because the more these interest rates go up, the more expensive it is for you and me to borrow money, but the more expensive it is for the government to borrow money. Okay. And, again, remember rule of 72. Take the number 72, divide the interest rate to it, and that's how many years it takes to double. Okay. Explaining this. If you've got $1,000, you borrow $1,000 and you're paying 7.2% interest, okay, it's going to take 10 years for you to owe $2,000. $1,000 divided by 72 gets you your interest times. Okay. I probably just completely messed up your head on the math on that one. But yes, that's how long at interest rate, 7.2%, how long it takes to double. Okay. Same as with your savings account. You deposit $1,000 at 7.2%, compound it all. In 10 years, you will have $2,000. Okay. That's how that works. Well, with the government having to pay higher interest rates, that's compounding just as fast. And so in order to pay that interest, they got to borrow more money, but nobody likes the U.S. credit, so they got to so they're charging more interest, and we turn into Zimbabwe. That's what's coming. Susan Musser, thank you for staying true to your mission. A lot of other channels want you to pay a monthly fee. I'm not doing that, okay? I've told you guys that forever. People are going to Patreon or Locals or something like that. No, okay? Not happening. I'm not doing that. I think, I got to give you this one. Finally, Friday, the $53 that Rumble owed me, okay, for about 50 videos, you think we get rich doing this, that I requested in April, I finally got the check on Friday, okay, 4.5 months later. I will tell you guys this right now, you will never see another video of me on Rumble. Rumble is a scam beyond belief. Okay. So don't worry about that. We do all the work and they try to steal all the money. Rumble should be the Joe Biden channel. I don't know. Okay. And there's the shut down to the bottom. Let's see where we are here. Michelle, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate her super sticker there. Appreciate it. Leo, thank you as well for the Wildlife Management Fund, all those wild birds. What would be your lessons learned from the carrot experiment? Okay. If you guys don't know what the carrot experiment was, I'll explain it real quick. I found a guy who grows competitive carrots out of Great Britain somewhere. Okay. Scotland, Ireland, England. I'm not sure which one. And so I did what he did. Now, the difference is I used a potting soil, maybe not as fine. I couldn't use the same carrot seeds because we can't get what he was growing there. Lessons learned, maybe I use a finer soil because I still had twisted carrots. And definitely try a different carrot. It wasn't a terrible experiment. I'm just going to try with a different type carrot. Cindy Steiger, have I considered installing a windmill to get water from your pond? No, and here's a reason why. My well here on the property is 330 feet deep. Okay. So if I want to dig a well, it's going to cost me 30 grand. All right. You know, not $100 a foot here. So no, it doesn't matter how I pump it or whatever. I'm not paying that kind of money to do it. We've got an idea that we're working on with the ram pump. We've built it. We've tested the concept. It works. We've just now got to be able to do it correctly where we can pump water 800 feet up 65 feet in elevation. So that's what we're working on. This is the project that I've been working on for a while. So we're getting there. Got it. Got permissions from neighbors to go through yards and things like that to try to do it. So, Booney June, what do I think of Skywell product that using moisture in the air to make water? Okay, I have no idea what the Skywell product is. If it's something like the dehumidifier that I showed, God, this has got to be 6 months ago, on how to do it. If that's what it is, yeah, but don't go off on one of these, oh, geez, it's $2,000 or whatever. No, I don't know where you are, okay? But buying something like that in Phoenix, not going to, there's no humidity, okay? Where there is humidity, there's already water. I mean, that's all humidity is it's water evaporating into the air, okay? So, yes, you can get water from the humidity, but some of these products that are extremely expensive, all they are dehumidifiers. That's it. You can go buy a dehumidifier and do the same thing. Just all I'm going to tell you is this: make sure you run it through a high quality water purification system, because you do not want to wind up with Legionnaire's disease or something like that. So, from bacteria and stuff like that that will collect in the dehumidifier. It's me. The saying for meat is a pint is a pound the world around. Okay. Yeah, that's about right too for when you're doing meats. So, let's see. Yarn prepper, how can you store cabbage heads in pieces? Okay. Make sauerkraut, make stuffed cabbage, make cabbage soup. You're not going to store the whole head. It's not going to work. Okay. You're going to have to ferment it. You're going to have to pickle it or some way to store it. Okay. There is no other way. Cabragoon cabulus. Hopefully I got that right. Any requirement to keep a man-made pond? I'm going to take a guess. CS is a typo. I'm going to guess that's keep a man-made pond as a natural. I'm not sure I understand the question, but at least here, okay, I don't have to have any sort of permits or anything like that to have a pond on my property. It has to be 1 acre before they will require you to permit. I didn't divert any streams or anything like that, so there's nothing. But basically, mine is a hole in the ground. You could, if they really wanted to, I could say it's a huge puddle. That's it. But to keep the pond like that, no. I have no regulations, no restrictions, no nothing on it. Dug a hole, sealed it up, fill it with water, put fish in it, and I've got a pond. Florida Mama Bear says you can can eggplant carbonara. Enjoy it yourself. I won't be eating it. Mama Preps 4, do I cook my rice before I can my stuffed peppers? No, I do rinse it to get the extra starch off of it. But then I just mix it with the raw ground beef. It goes in with raw peppers, raw onions, and tomato sauce goes over the top of it. Poof, can it, and you're done. It's messy, but, well, of course, the messiest part is making the tomato sauce because you're peeling potatoes and doing all that. But, for those of you guys who make salsa or anything like that, you know what a mess it is to peel and chop potatoes or tomatoes. So, Uh, Suen, do I like spam? Scrapples. I don't know what scrapple is. Spam I like. Okay. Spam sandwich, a little mayonnaise, a little lettuce. I'm good. Spam and eggs. I'm ex-Army. So yeah, I'm used to eating spam and eggs. So yeah, I've got plenty of spam in my preps. Uh, Ildico, can I save Santa Claus melon seeds for planting? I've never even heard of Santa Claus melons, so I can't answer that one. Don't know. Uh, Ron Angevine, can you ferment cucumbers in just water and salt, no vinegar? I've never heard of it, so I'm not going to be, that one I'd look up. I don't know. I've never heard of that being done, but it, maybe it can. I don't know. You might be able to at least make refrigerator pickles or something like that out of there to last a couple of weeks, but I don't know how long just fermenting with water and salt would last. North Carolina and NC. Have you ever grown your own sugar beets? A sugarcane alternative in non-GMO. I grow beets. I do not grow sugar beets. What we have as a alternative for sugar is I have fig trees. So if I need that sugar, that I've got figs. Because again, it depends. You guys got to remember, it depends on where you are and what you can grow. I mean, this is it. I'm too far north to grow sugarcane. I could probably grow sorghum, but I'm not going to. Okay, so what's the next best option for me is figs. You look at something like that. You live up in, International Falls, Minnesota. You ain't growing figs. Okay, so you got to figure out something else that way. A lot of, as I've said many times, there is no one size fits all the prepping. Everybody goes, well, you know what? You need to grow oranges. I can't. Okay, it gets below freezing here. Okay, not that it matters because there's more vitamin C in a green pepper than there is in an orange anyway. But you got to figure out what works for where you are. Just because some YouTuber says, well, yeah, you need to grow this. If you can't grow it where you are, no, you don't need to grow it. So, a lot of what I give you, what other people give you, are ideas to think about, but you have to come up with the solutions on your own. Okay. Susan Musser, did I see the interviews of the Maui survivors getting offers from investors for their land? No, I have not. I would love to see that. If you've got a link to that, if you can email that to me, I would love to take a look at that. Let's see. Virginia Williams, I thought you couldn't use tea because of the way it grows. I completely do not understand we haven't talked anything about tea tonight, so I don't understand the concept whatsoever. Doris Abels, how do I access yours and Mrs. P's canning recipes? Okay, if you go right under the screen here, I'm hoping you're on a computer because I'm not even going to try to walk you through it on a cell phone. Where it says Pinball Preparedness, click on that. That will take you to the home page. If you go to the home page and look for where it says playlists, click on that, and then under the three playlists, you will see Cooking with Mrs. Pinball. That'll take you to the recipe page. On the left-hand side, click where it says videos or all videos, and that will take you to every one of them, and there's probably 20, 25 of them up there. Kimberly House, have I seen the video about China coating rice with plastic? No, I have not. Not a good thing. Happy Canner, Pinball, how do you think Trump supporters will react if he's sent to prison? Trump's not going to prison. Okay, period. That's not going to happen. There is zero chance that Trump does a day in prison, whether or not they find him guilty. There will be some sort of plea deal. If it looks like they're going to lose, there'll be some sort of plea deal that will keep him out of prison. Trump will never see a day behind bars. No different than Joe Biden will never see a day behind bars. Hillary Clinton will never see a day behind bars. Understand, there is a separate set of rules for them and for us, okay? I mean, you guys saw that with the whole Hunter Biden deal, with, him getting a plea deal, albeit that it was nixed by the judge, but there's nobody else that gets, a plea deal for falsifying a 4473 or for tax evasion or anything like that. There's a separate rules, a separate set of laws for politicians and for us. Trump's never going to see a day of jail. Let's see. Chris Bulldog, yeah, Island Prison sounds a lot like Papillon. No, it ain't that the truth. Thrill Hunter, perfectly planned. There was a conference in Hawaii in January 2023, planning this future's smart HI. Yeah, I'm guessing it means smart cities. Yeah. Or future smart Hawaii, I guess is what you're saying. Lynn Hathaway, Pinball, have you ever grown lemon cucumbers? I want to save seeds for mine, but not sure how. If you go into my gardening video or my gardening playlist, there is a video in there on saving seeds. Use the same technique. I don't remember if I show on how to save cucumber seeds in there. It's the exact same technique that you use to save tomato seeds. So go watch that, and that will show you exactly how to do it. Okay. It's not as easy as just taking the cucumber seeds out of the cucumber. So, let's see. Old hippie, where in Wisconsin did you look at when you were looking to move? Oh my God, I can't. Let me see if I can look at a map. I'm not going to be able to give you the right city, but I can give you the general area. Let me see if it. Give me a second. It was somewhere up near. It was north of Wausau, I guess would be the best. It was in the Rhinelander area. I remember that. That was there. So say it's probably somewhere between Eagle River, Crandon, and Tomahawk. That would be about the area, if that helps at all. But I remember it was near Rhinelander. Now, where's the right page? There we go. Okay. Florida Mama Bear says times for steam canning are the same as water bath. Okay, thank you. Learned something new. I don't have a steam canner, so like I said, I don't want to give you bad information. I certainly don't want anybody to have food poisoning because of what I said. Linda Town, have I ever dried meat? I'd like to try to make ham for capicola. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, use a dehydrator. You can make jerky in the oven, if you will. Drying meat is a skill that we all need to have because, and again, Mrs. P and I were talking about this today. I told her, I said, you don't understand how lucky, saying to Mrs. P, you don't understand how lucky the two of us are to have you because you know how to stretch food. What we had for dinner is something that she calls hedgehogs. Okay. But it was where we could take literally 1 pound of ground beef and feed 4 to 6 people on 1 pound of ground beef. And, we were talking about different ways of storing food. And I said, remember back in the old days, 100 years ago, that old days, maybe 150. And, guys pulling a piece of beef jerky out of their pocket and eating it because that was their protein source, because that was the only way to store meat. It was dried somehow. And, that's a skill we all need to have. Learn how to do it and, make your own jerky. Because when there is no power, whatever you have, freezer space or refrigerator space or whatever it is, okay? You get a deer this hunting season. How many people, A, know how to process a deer, okay? And B, how many people have the storage space to store a deer, okay? So you got to figure out, do you know how to salt meat? Do you know, salt cure meat or anything? Drying meat is about the easiest way to do it. Smoking meat, I'm betting there's not a whole lot of people who have a smokehouse that they could smoke a deer in. Okay. And you're certainly not going to do it on your little, what is it, Traeger grill or something like that. It's like, well, I can put this piece in, and now I can put this piece in 8 hours later. By then the deer's getting flies. So, yes, I've dried meat many times, and it's not difficult. Learn how to do it. Sherry Lou, to Pinball or anyone who knows, Florida question. Why do oranges grow to size and stay green? I know nothing about citrus. I'm a New York transplant. That's going to be somebody that lives in Florida. I've never grown oranges in my life. Well, no, I take it back. We did have an orange tree in Vegas, and I think we got a couple of oranges out of it. That was it. We weren't there. We were only there for 2 years. Let's see. Addicted to learning says my grandson's been in school here in South Carolina for 2 weeks already. That's crazy. I remember my birthday is Labor Day weekend. You guys know that. And I don't ever remember going to school before my birthday. So, Von Mousetrap, Mr. P, is it true that we have troops on the ground? I'm assuming that means in Ukraine. Yeah, we have trainers, if you will. If we have actual fighting troops, that I have not heard. But yeah, we've had people in there training Ukrainians for over a year. So, let's see. Skydancer, is my stuffed pepper recipe available? Yep, it's the same way I described the playlist before, Gardening with Mrs. Pinball. If you go onto the homepage, look at playlists, look for recipe, look for the Gardening with Mrs. Pinball playlist. It's in there. So, okay. I know we got 4 letters here. Learn to put my Twitter address in. Yes, I've got a new Twitter address, guys, in case anybody wants to follow me there. No, it doesn't cost anything there either. And no, I'm not paying Elon Musk $8 again so they can ban me and keep I pay $84 or whatever for a year. And of course, they banned me and, no, you don't get your money back. I'm like, good, then I'll just create a new channel or a new username, and I'm not paying this time. So, let's see. M. Sean, I've had luck using Bacto light potting soil and growing carrots. Okay, good to know. I can check that out. All right, we'll see what happens. Maybe the potting soil I had, I have a feeling it was just a little too chunky. 308, I'm guessing. Interesting way of writing that out. Is it possible to put water in a 100-gallon container and bury it underground for a few years? Sure, I guess it's possible. Are you going to want to use that, especially if you're talking about drinking water? Because again, you're talking about a plastic container, chances are, and you're going to get the leachate from the plastic. I wouldn't, could you do it? Yes, I guess, but yeah, just make sure you got a good water filter and still run it through a filter. Wouldn't be my preferred way to do it, but I get the idea of why you're trying to. Let's see what else we got. Puffy Prepper and all. I'm sorry, but I'm in pain, so going to take pills and go to bed. Well, I hope you're long since gone. Have a good sleep, my dear, and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's see. Acushnet Prepper, are there any car junkyards near me? Nearest one that I know of is about an hour away. It's at the Union County, Knox County line. So that's the closest one I know of. Healthy Disrespect, have you had any water birds show up to fish in your pond yet? No, nothing. I mean, we've got loons and stuff like that here. I haven't seen if there's been any dive bombing birds or anything like that have gone in, but I haven't seen any birds standing in the pond yet, so that's a good thing. Scrapple's a Jersey thing, okay. How do you know when your melons are ready to pick? When you knock on them and they sound hollow. So I'm trying to go through here. Let's see. because I know we're right close. Maureen Majala, are my figs planted in the ground or in pots? Mine are in the ground, but it doesn't get cold enough here in the winter, so that is possible. I can grow them that way. Yeah, undercover. Scrapples everything left over from the pig process with the oink. Okay. Uh, and Christina Higgins, last one for the night. Please post your stuffed pepper recipe. I'd love to try it. Again, it's in the playlist of Cooking with Mrs. Pinball. Okay, guys, that is it for a Tuesday night. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.